bullying in South Korea is a huge problem, especially in schools. The Netflix drama The Glory, starring Song Hye-kyo, helped shine a light to this controversial issue. But unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of real life examples play out in the media. I think this week we had an example of a famous, not a famous prosecutor, a powerful prosecutor in the current government, who was revealed to have tried to cover up his son's bullying at school, also refused to apologize to the victim of his son's bullying, and tried to stop a court order which would have forced his son to transfer schools. Now, the reason this is all coming to a head is because these abuse of power scandals have been rocking South Korean society, and not just in the government. You're seeing wealthy people trying to abuse their power in other industries. The famous Korean Air nut rage incident, where the wealthy daughter of the Korean Air owner basically abused the flight attendants on her flight. So this is a problem that's been infecting Korea for years, and I just think a drama like The Glory is just kind of making it more mainstream and more talked about. And back to the case that I referred to in the beginning, this prosecutor, his son was attending a pretty famous boarding school in Korea that's very prestigious. And some of my Korean friends kind of referred to as a place where rich Koreans who can't afford to or aren't able to send their kids abroad send their kids instead, so they can feel good about themselves. It's a really prestigious boarding school where most of the kids are probably going to end up at the top universities in South Korea. And what happened was this prosecutor's son was accused of basically verbally abusing his classmate to the point where this classmate tried to kill themselves. He would call his classmate, quote, a dirty communist pig from Jeju-do Island. That he would also brag about his father's position as a prosecutor and almost wave that in the victim's in the victim's face, saying basically, hey, you can't do anything because my dad has a really nice job and he'll probably help cover up my crimes, or the police won't care. And this is kind of the big reason why school bullies aren't punished in Korea, is because, especially if that bully comes from wealth and they have a lot of connections, the police, the lawyers, the teachers, and the school administrators will most likely turn a blind eye to it. It's really sick and really sad, but the reason they do that is because they're all scared and they're all cowards. They're all worried about getting shit from their superiors, who would also get shit from their superiors, who in turn, all the way leading up all the way to the president. They just don't want to be reprimanded by the bureaucracy, in a sense. So what happens is the teacher will maybe file a report to the principal. The principal then realizes that, oh, this kid who's doing the bullying, his son or his mom or his dad, is a really powerful person in the country, and we don't want to cause any trouble, so let's just try to make this issue go away. That's pretty much how things unfold in terms of the way these adults, quote unquote, try to handle bullying. And it's really sick. But this kind of bullying you see at schools is almost it almost represents Korean society as a whole. And what I mean by that, it's a very top-down society. So if you're rich and powerful and connected and you're sitting on the top rung of society, very few rules apply to you, and that includes school bullying. For example, I had a guy that I used to be friends with, not anymore, but his family came from a lot of money. You could say that he was part of the elite in Korean society, and he had an older brother who was educated at the best boarding schools and went to the best university, but his personal life was a mess. He would go out and drink, fight random people, and drink and drive and cause accidents. And his father at the time had a lot of money, so what he would do is show up to the crime scene, apologize to the police officer, then make a visit to the local police office and pay off the local police chief to make the charges go away. So those kinds of things happen all the time here, and there's a reason why so many victims are hesitant to speak out, or they only speak out years later after they've had some time to process their trauma. And it's really sick because I think, as a Korean, I don't want to criticize, my people or the country too much, but this obsession with listening to people at the top, this this society that's been founded almost on Confucianism and the idea of this rigid structure where you have to listen to people at the top no matter how wrong they may be is causing problems like this. And the stuff you saw in The Glory, that Netflix show, is pretty accurate. And to be honest, there's some examples that they didn't show that are even more horrifying. I didn't go to middle or high school in Korea, thank God, but I've heard some stories from my friends who had their formal education here about, bullies, putting dead animals in the other kids' lockers, leaving their poop or pee in their classmates' belongings, or, straight up hitting their classmates in class and the teacher turning a blind eye and doing nothing about it. So I think that the recent show, The Glory, and also this news involving this prosecutor's son, just kind of shows the sad state of Korean educational institutes. But nothing is going to change unless the rich here actively try to implement change, because to be honest, they're the ones that control the country. They control the politicians, they control the police, hell, they even control the media. So it's sad how top down Korea has become. Um, and it shouldn't be controversial to talk about stuff like this. Up until a few years ago, it was. But we have to be really honest about the problems plaguing this society. And I guess in conclusion, if you have a kid and you want them to study in Korea, I would actually recommend against it. I would only send my kid here maybe for college, and if their major is suited for a Korean university. But I just think sending your kid to school here in middle school and high school especially is rough, because they have no free time. They're always going out to study, even after school hours. And then they also face this type of bullying that we're seeing play out. So it's toxic and it's gross. And to me, it just represents how the wealthy and powerful in this country have gamed the system entirely, to the point where even their kids can get away with psychopathic behavior in the school. And it needs to stop. And I'm glad that this prosecutor and his son got caught and that he's resigning. But man, I'm sure there's plenty of other people who haven't got caught yet, and we've got a long way to go. All right, so that's the end of this video. If you liked it, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button or leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.